Hello twin flames, welcome to my channel and welcome to a daily energy check. Today I'm going to do the ancestor reading. So this means that we have our angels and ancestors dead back. We'll get some direct guidance from the ancestors and then we'll switch to our daily read, but it will have that intention in mind that today we're getting guidance from our ancestors, from those who are looking out for us and who we're calling to today for wisdom, inspiration, and guidance. Okay, with all that said, let's get right into it. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. Yesterday we had the 4/4 portal and I have a special edition reading for that. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. 4 is a powerful number in general. It is about building foundation, and of course, in that reading, we're looking at how this portal is impacting the Twin Flame Collective. Today, let's see what the ancestors are saying. And we got a new episode of Mindfully Awake out. I'll probably add the link in the comments, and also there is a post in the community tab. This week they had the problem with YouTube, with streaming it on YouTube, so I'm giving you a link on Facebook, and you can also find it on X, on LinkedIn, and you can listen to it as a podcast. You can just search Mindfully Awake and you'll see it right away. Honestly, I feel like that's the most convenient way because first of all, you can follow that particular podcast, whereas with videos, you don't really have that option because it's a studio account. So if you subscribe, you'll be following a bunch of other stuff that you may or may not want to follow, right? With the Spotify or Apple Podcast or any other platform that you use, it's a lot easier that way. Plus, of course, you can listen on the go. If you're like me and you have Spotify Premium, you can actually download the episode and listen to it offline when you have a chance. I'm going on a trip in 10 days, and actually exactly 10 days from today. And I plan to download some of the content that I like to listen to, maybe an audiobook, maybe podcast episodes, so I can listen to them when I'm traveling, because I'm going to be abroad, and in many spaces that I'm going to be in, I won't even get internet connection, either cell or Wi-Fi, and I don't think I'll be trying too hard. But it'd be nice to have that option, especially since most of the stuff that I'm listening to is all around mindfulness and spirituality, so never hurts. With all that said, what do we have as a message for Divine Feminines today? Oh, and by the way, don't forget to like the video, and if you're new, welcome, and please subscribe so you don't miss any juicy readings going forward. Oh, and last but not least, I'm at 8 out of 12 readings of the horoscopes for April, and I will complete uploading them today. So I have 4 left, so that's Saggy, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So those 4 are gonna appear later today. The rest of them are already on the channel, Mindful Bamboo. There's a handle in the description box, so check those out. They're for your love life, career and workspace, and with guidance from the universe, and also messages from your person. Okay, feminines, you've got the arrow message. Surround yourself with positive energy. I'm pretty sure the last time I used this deck, we also had arrow card for you. And you saw me shuffling, so it's not like it just stayed there. No. But the energy is still very relevant. And I don't know if you listened the last time we had it, but this is a bit of a reminder for you that it's really important. And when I was doing my research for this week's episode of the podcast, I actually looked this up as well in one of the contexts. Doesn't matter, but the truth is I had a thought about it once again for myself, because whether we like it or not, we're surrounded with different types of people at different levels of their inner work and consciousness state and vibration and all that stuff. So it's like you can't avoid meeting people who are at a lower level and will give you a hard time, or maybe those people are very expensive, and expensive with A, but they're just having a bad day, right? And can still give you a hard time. By the way, Mercury retrograde is ending on Monday. Thank God for that. You know, like, it still happens, and it's like, should I walk away from those people, or is it like a part of the lesson for me to have some of those people around once in a while, so that I can remember about my boundaries and how to deal with those situations and with those kind of people, right? And I keep seeing this message about, and I actually saw that yesterday, on like surrounding yourself with people who are aligned with you as much as possible. And it's like, yes, if it happens by accident, it happens, but if you already know that that person is in a bad place in their life at this point, right? Or you know for sure that they are quite toxic, even if it's passive aggressive, even if they don't have, you know, they don't really realize what they're doing, but you can see it over and over again, so you understand this is their pattern, it's not just a one-off thing. Then it becomes your responsibility what you do with it. And I do have at least one person in my life right now who kind of wants to be friends, who we connect once in a while, and she wants to spend even more time together and do stuff, and I'm like, you know, intuitively like pulling away, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I probably should be even more decisive in that way. And I don't need to, you know, to give her a hard time, right? Like, everybody's choosing their life philosophy. That's what we talked about yesterday, but it doesn't comply with mine. I'm not having a good time without the details, but it like every conversation is kind of exhausting for me. So I'm like, yeah, no, I don't need that in my life. I don't think so. And for masculines, we have Shaolin Master. Be graceful in movement, in action and action. Let's look at that. Actually, I saw this on the pre-shuffle and I thought, that's an interesting card. I don't think I've ever actually gotten it in a reading, so let's take a look. You are being guided to flow like water, blow like air, and connect with your purest intentions. Don't feel you need to rush ahead. A gentler approach will be more fruitful and rewarding. Move with subtlety and grace. Reach high, but also ask yourself how you can move with the flow of life rather than pushing against it. Do you have the capacity to refocus your gaze at this time? Can you slow down or take more time to soften and breathe as you move forward? All of this will be incredibly beneficial for what happens next. And I feel like this intensity of times that we've experienced with the eclipses recently, it was a lot about that, you know, like, first of all, how do you deal with that storm, with those waves, you know, like, how do you navigate that time with grace? And also, how do you still stay in that flowy, watery mode, you know, where you can just flow, you don't have to resist or push. Bottom of the deck, Knight of Cups. Yep, that's the flowy state I was talking about. Moving with kindness, with grace and compassion. To yourself and to others. The Emperor, that's the Aries energy. And we talk a lot about this energy. Also, this is number 4 in Tarot. And yesterday was 4-4 portal. So I also mentioned this energy in the context of the portal. Right? It's like the true leader is actually leading with compassion, with respect. It's not about just having people being afraid of you, right? It's not leading with pressure. It's more like, it's not about telling others that you're better than them because you're in this position, right? By definition. No, it's like, okay, so I have responsibility for these people to a certain extent, right? And that puts me in a position where I need to exercise even more compassion and emotional intelligence. Feminines, your energy for today is 3 of Swords, clarified by Ace of Cups. Yeah, there's something that's bringing you down, whether it's a relationship, I don't know, your maybe work situation or living situation, or any combination of the above. You know, it's important to bring more love into the space, even if it's gonna come from a completely different space. Like, I don't know, you're stressed about your living situation and something's just not working out. You can bring more love by getting together with people who love you, and spend that quality time together, right? Or you can go in nature and connect with nature, and you know, you're showing love to yourself by, in that case, by putting yourself in that environment where you can heal, where you can align with natural vibration, right? You can support nature, and nature can support you. Masculines, your energy is 8 of Swords clarified by 5 of Pentacles. Wow, that's tough, that's rough. And that's why being graceful is so important, and there is a reminder here for you. You know, you may feel enraged, you may feel like you keep trying and you're not getting anywhere, like you don't see progress, and it's like, maybe it's me, maybe I'm just broken and I don't deserve this, that kind of self-talk, you know. And you know, you need to get out of your head, and sometimes the best way is to actually see who needs help around you and help them maybe deal with their misery, with their hardship, right? And you will see how immediately the energy will change around for you. Not to mention that if you are doing a good deed, especially if it's pure, you know, without an agenda, if it's sincere, then it's gonna return to you tenfold. And that's one of the ways to bring more of that, you know, goodness and luck, if you wish, to your environment. Additional question for today, Emperor clarified by 8 of Wands. So we have double Emperor in the reading today, actually. How do we appear in charge, but in a noble way? You know, that people see through our energy that we come here to play, you know, that we are serious in our intention, without us having to tell them, or, you know, to play some games or whatever, to exercise our power, to show them where each of us are in the hierarchy. Feminines, for you, the guidance is Ace of Swords clarified by the Moon. Follow your truth and speak your truth. You know how you're feeling, what is coming up for you. Show people that you are a real person. You're not a robot. You're not just closed off from your emotions, right? You are a real deal, including your, you know, weaknesses, your sensitivity. And if you feel like it will compromise you, if you're talking about current situation, you can talk about a past situation that's not relevant anymore, but it will still show people what you've been through and how you dealt with that particular situation, you know? Maybe even talk about your fears. But the Moon is more about feelings and emotions. Guidance for the masculine, another Moon card, by the way. Look at all the synchronicities. This is just crazy. The Moon clarified by 9 of Pentacles. Masculines, and for your position, you are supposed to dive deeper into what is your happy place, what is your happy lifestyle, right? What makes you feel bliss, what makes you feel elated, you know, what gets you there. And that's in reality what you can then channel to help other people reach abundance, happiness, wellness, you know? So draw from your own example, but draw from a positive example rather than negative. And if you feel like, you know, showing up in a more arrogant space where you want to show people why you are the leader, why you deserve to be here, then do the opposite, you know, because that's ego talking. And people will see that anyway, you know, why you're doing, what are you doing? So you might as well show up in a space of like, you know what? I'm here because I have all this life experience and I can share this with you. This will be helpful. What I've been through, you can do this without making all the mistakes that I've made, or without taking as much time as it took me, right? So you're kind of selling this a little bit, don't go too far with it, but this is like showing people why this is a win-win relationship, really. How do you feminine see in the connection right now? The Chariot clarified by Three of Swords. So for feminines, it's the second Three of Swords. So there's some kind of heartbreak regarding the progress in the connection, regarding, you know, the speed with which this is developing, right? Or maybe for some of you, you kind of go back and forth, right? Like maybe you've taken 2 steps forward and then 1 step backward, and it's like, oh, really? Like it, you know, I had my hope when we were moving forward. It looked so good, and now we're moving backwards again. So there is more pain and fear there. For masculines, how the masculines see in the connection, we see 10 of Swords, clarified by Judgment. Yeah, and I think we saw that in the recent readings as well, right? The moment of judgment, maybe it was in the horoscopes actually. But anyway, masculines are feeling like they can't really move forward, that there is something that's stopping them. And they're now starting to see, this moment comes where they're starting to see what is it? What is stopping them? What is preventing them from moving towards this connection and towards the feminine? Like, it seems so simple on the one hand. It's like, why am I not saying yes to this? Why am I so worried? Like, why is it making me, is it giving me anxiety and all that stuff, you know? And now the truth is coming out. And for a lot of masculines, it will be connected with fear of repetition of the past pain and suffering, or past conflicts in previous relationships, or maybe even in this one if you had them. For others, it's just a story from earlier in life, maybe even from childhood, where there is some kind of, as a result of some trauma, there is some kind of faulty belief about love and relationships and what happens in them when we are becoming serious, you know, when we show that commitment to someone. And masculines are going to see that, meaning they're going to see that this is their belief. Yeah, they are afraid because they've received all that trauma, all that pain, right? The question is, of course, still that it needs to be dealt with. Otherwise, and you can't just pretend like it doesn't exist. It's still gonna come up, right? So the next question is gonna be, what are you gonna be doing about it, divine masculines? But for now, all the ancestors are asking you to do is to show up as this Shaolin master with grace in movement and action. Okay, I hope this was useful to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all, and until next time, bye.